Ebenezer Oyeago, who is the new Group Managing Director of Zenith Bank, one of Nigeria's Tier 1 lenders, is the one ringing the closing bell and the gong on the Nigerian stock exchange today. So just keep that there. 2:30 this afternoon, this big bank is going to introduce his new Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer. But we'll get that to that in about a minute. Let's check in first with our debt market, Ajibola Phillips, who is the head of FX dealing at FBN Quest Merchant Bank. Ajibola is going to catch up with you again on the show. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Boston. Good to be here again.
Inflation was the big story yesterday. Nearly all the parameters were down, which means positive reading. How do you guys at the debt market and currency, what's your take on the June inflation data?
It's all positive with the inflation down. That's a bit of encouraging news for the market, and that's coupled with whatever is going on in the market right now, where we have seen yields continue to drop as a result of the present liquidity in the market. Coming from some of the CBN regulations with respect to the 2 billion maximum limit on the standing deposit facility, and then as well as some maturities coming in from from coupon payments coming in from bonds. So all of that coupled with the new inflation rate just makes it positive for market and yields on a downward trend in the debt markets generally.
So what's your outlook on this new inflation direction and what you expect by this time next week from the central bank MPC? What was said earlier in the year was the inflation signaling that the forecast that the central bank gave was we'll have an uptrend between May and August. But here we are right in the middle of that, and there was a plunge in headline inflation, including cost of index, as well as food inflation.
In the last address by the governor, where he was talking about his 5-year plan, you would have seen that it was prominent where he was talking about tackling inflation and trying to bring it to a single digit. I know we're still a long road from that, but the governor has made it one of his agendas for his next tenure. So looking forward for the market, we expect the yield to continue to trend downwards. And that's just because of all of the things happening in the market generally right now, where the market is really flush with liquidity, and as well as CBN not issuing OMO like they used to. So the market is really awash with liquidity, and then we're seeing that yields are going to be trending downwards. For the FX market on the other hand, there's been a bit of a liquidity squeeze in the I&E market, so that made rates go slightly higher. I think we're inching towards the 361 levels right now. We expect that to continue, except we begin to get some inflows from offshore market, which has really been the mainstay for the I&E market in recent times.
Okay, so we have a week to the MPC decision day. What's your take on the key rate parameters? What's your take, Ajibola?
If at all anything, going by some of the things that CBN have done, we expect that maybe there will be, just to spur interest there, just to spur lending, like the CBN has been hammering. There might be a rate cut. That's a big might, and that's just because some of the posture that CBN has recently been leaning towards where they're trying to encourage the banks to lend to the real sector. So we might be seeing, maybe a slight rate cut, if at all anything, just to spur the banks to continue to lend to the real sector.
The MPC has to give the bank something. So what figure are you looking at? 0.5 like we had, or 0.25?
Yeah, 0.5. I don't expect, it's going to be gradual. Not something, not a big cut, maybe a 0.5 basis point, 0.5 basis cut, because it has to be gradual. I don't see CBN doing something drastic right now. But at least if there's a 0.5 basis cut, that's a signal in itself to the market to tell them that CBN wants the rate to go lower.
Thank you so much, Ajibola Phillips. We appreciate your time from FMDQ Exchange Place. Ajibola works with, is the head of FX dealing at FBN Quest Merchant Bank. Thank you. Okay, so let's put a few questions to Temple Ashaju, our business correspondent, the trading floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Yesterday, Seplat had a capital market trading there and was upbeat about its new $700 million ANOH gas development project, which it says will help Nigeria resolve its power deficit. Meantime, the Nigeria Labour Congress has warned the industry regulator, NERC, that Nigerian or consumers will not pay higher electricity tariffs. Keep that at the back of your mind. Tempo, come in here, please.
Right, Bosun, it's good to be back again.
Yes, so let's talk about this. You were at a Seplat event yesterday. Give us a few sense of what you got from this company, this major E&P company, when it comes to this gas project and the critical problem of gas supply into our energy or electricity conundrum.
So it's basically tapping into the federal government's gas reforms, which started some in 2012 or thereabouts, and that was when they also keyed into this particular reform to see how they can help Nigeria basically to cut short the deficit, the gas deficit that we have, especially in terms of thermal power and of course LPG consumption. So the argument is that over time we need to find a way to increase our energy generation, so they are trying to tap into that particular market commodity so that Nigeria can get a bit of more gas, since we have huge deposits of gas. I mean, I think that's the largest in the entire Africa. So the Ohaji, the Asa North and Ohaji South gas power project in Imo State is one of the largest deposits of gas that Nigeria has, and that is where the plants will be situated. The understanding is that with time, gas pricing will increase, and of course that's why Seplat is keen into that opportunity from the scratch, such that when the prices of gas goes up, by then they will be able to make some more profit, as opposed to what crude oil is doing now, the whole volatility that has set into the crude oil market since 2014, which hasn't really had any firm recovery. They believe that with gas they will be able to make some more money, and of course that will come by way of venturing into the processed gas, the condensate that will be sold, and of course the LPG that they will also be selling. When I had a chat with Mr. Austin Aburu, the chief executive of Seplat, he told me that by the first quarter of 2021, the very first gas will be in the Nigerian market. And of course, this particular company has the foreign market and of course the domestic space primarily in focus in terms of where they will be, selling this gas. So at the end of the day, Seplat will be, making so much money. Given the fact that they are having a JV to get this done, they've also put up some kind of a special purpose vehicle or some kind of an SP, special purpose entity, to make this project come into reality. It's going to have the participation of Shell. It's also going to have the participation of Total, NNPC, and ENI at the OML 21. But when it comes to OML 53, it's going to be Seplat and just NNPC in that. So there's a whole lot that is playing out there for Seplat. It's going to get the funding of some $420 million to de-risk the project, and some kind of $280 million debt, which I think GE, that's General Electric, has actually indicated interest in both.
Okay. Keep an eye on Seplat's share price today. It was unchanged yesterday, but today let's see what happens. But again, the one other news I'm sure you'll be watching at closing bell today is Zenith Bank. I'm sure Tempo, the new group managing director, is the one who's been standing behind you there and facing the camera for today's closing bell, the new group managing director and CEO of Zenith Bank PLC. Thank you, Tempo. All of that, let's put that together and come back here tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the morning. Get around television, wherever you're watching, on the box, online, wherever on the planet. This is Channels Television, Nigeria's news leader. I'll see you again in the next 24.